Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be starting a new video series called Let's Help Kabam. Now, quite often I get tainted as being negative towards Kabam when in actuality I do try to give as much constructive feedback as possible. Now, admittedly, I'm only human. Sometimes do things infuriate me and sometimes I do move away from that slightly just to vent. I'll be first to admit that. Vast majority of the videos discussing issues with the current game and gameplay and otherwise are coming from a very good place because I want this game to be as good as it possibly can. I want the game to do better. If the game does better, I can do better with my YouTube channel as well, and we're all having a better time playing it. And one of the most common complaints is that the game feels overwhelming. It's just not as fun anymore. It feels like a chore. It feels like a job. It feels like you need to take in 5 million pieces of information, which effectively nobody's willing to do for a mobile video game anymore. And that, I think, is something where Kabam has lost their perspective on completely. Therefore, in today's video, we're going to be talking about bloat in MCOC. Because believe it or not, there are dozens of things in this game that are completely unnecessary, unnecessarily complex, and I think, again, Kabam has lost perspective on what they are doing. A perfect example here is going to be, the first example here is going to be the side event. Side event has moved from something that we have a quest that changes monthly, and we get the quest rewards, and they have tried experimenting with it, which is fine, to make it fresh, especially when the game was smaller, when we didn't have incursions, when we didn't have battlegrounds, when we didn't have plenty of other things happening. Now, we do. And whenever there is more to do in the game, the other game modes, the other areas of the game, kind of take a step back in the amount of maximum attention they can retain from the players, unless they can get significantly improved. And side event is not one of the core game modes. It is one of, let's say, 8 or 9 pillars of this game, in between monthly event quest, in between story content, battlegrounds, alliance war, alliance quest, incursions, name it. It's just one of those parts, no bigger than the other, arguably even smaller. Then, can somebody explain to me, why do we have 7 quests here, all of whom effectively the same and borderline meaningless? And the kicker of it is that you don't even need to play the higher difficulties. All of this work effectively has gone wasted because most of the people, after having done the solo objectives, which is the only thing that requires you to play your appropriate higher difficulty, now can just autoplay threat level 1. So all of this work is completely wasted. And it comes with a lot of other problems because this is confusing. A lot of people don't understand how side events work, and I don't blame them because instead of having a quest and us getting quest rewards, completion, exploration, path rewards, what have you, we have now side event, currency store, solo objectives, solo events. At times we get like alliance events as well in this. We get quest rewards, path rewards. Why? To put in different kind of perspective, this isn't amazing for players because we have no clue what we're really getting and earning, or it's very hard to get a general picture of what the net benefit for us is going to be from doing this side event. Perfect example is upcoming side event. The fact that a side event needs an overview is quite crazy, but take a look at it. Like, they explain it, and there's just like all of these things that you earn, and then you get like useless cow crystal shards and some side event currency, and then you get another key, and then you get like a tiny dribs of 200 5-star. Okay, then you get another, tiny 10 5 tier 2 primordial dust or 15 tier 2 primordial dust. The question is like, why do we need all that separation, all that splitting? It's like you generally get no idea. Then there's another side event where you get some 300 Hail to the King crystal fragments. Like, why? Why can't they just, give us a couple of crystals in one of it? And so on and so forth. Now we have absolute mess of things. And whilst I do understand that there is, reasoning behind why these things got implemented. And that has to do with human psychology and, manipulation that, you get constant stream of small rewards, therefore you're more likely to come back or get engaged. And I get that, except that this game has plenty of other areas that also provide rewards. And there is no question that this has completely run away from Kabam. As an end result, the net situation where we are right now is that number one, it's, in my opinion, worse for Kabam. Because Kabam has to pay and dedicate, work hours, create this every single month. And it's bad for the players because players find this confusing. Every single month a new side event starts, I get hundreds of people asking, it's like, how does it work? What do I do? Where do I go? And there is this general sense of frustration. Because for a mobile game, this is far more information than any average player or even dedicated player is willing to process. Now, I cover this game for a living. And even to me, it's not entirely clear how the next side event is going to look like. I get the general gist of it. There's going to be some quests that we need to do, and we're going to get entry tickets, blah, blah, blah. But I have no idea what the total rewards are going to be. I used to be able to tell that because we used to be able to look at the quest rewards. And I was like, this is more than last month. This is less than last month. I like this. I don't like this. Now, nobody has any idea because it's all just jumbled up completely. And yeah, as I said, somebody has to make this. This often goes wrong because it's so complicated. Then somebody has to fix it. All that causes frustration to the players to begin with because it's so complicated. That any issues cause more frustration. Now, wouldn't the obvious choice here be make side events more simple? Make them, difficulty based. There is a quest, maybe one thing additional. But now we have like 5 sources of rewards. It's unnecessary, in my personal opinion. And obviously, side events are far, far from the only place where stuff like that's happening in the game. When we're talking about the bloat in MCOC, we're also talking about the little things that just have no real reason for existing. For instance, a great example here would be the login calendar. Now we have a monthly login calendar that, again, somebody puts in a game, somebody has coded, and we have these Valiant calendars. Why? It's like, for a Valiant player, like a premium hero crystal a week, like a Paragon crystal a week or every 2 weeks. First of all, nothing that major to begin with. Second of all, you can just add it in the monthly login calendar. Take out 20k gold, add in 2 or 3 Paragon crystals, and done. Again, somebody will have less job, the game is going to be less cluttered, and everybody is going to go live happily ever after. You can go to solo objectives. We have like 5, 6, 7 different tabs now of solo objectives that we need to get through, as well as solo events. Somebody explained to me why I have 13 solo events happening. Okay, Test of Valiant. Now here's one for side event, here's another for side event, there are the rest for side event. We just had another like 5 different ones for the previous side event because they got delayed. There's like Alliance. It's like, there is just so much getting thrown at us. Like, we don't need a solo event for a side event, for instance. We definitely don't need 6 of them. Alliance events, they have done a good job cleaning up. Now, this is much better. This is how it should look like, for more or less. You have the Battlegrounds event, Summoner Advancement, and like 7 event. Alright, fine. The bloat also, like, this is something that Kabam can't take back, but another factor that definitely has contributed to bloat has been Relics, because Relics effectively were another huge set of champions, except everything had to be new. I still am absolutely convinced this was the pretty much worst possible way to go about Relics, because it effectively kind of doubles up as champions, right? So we get new rank up gems, new Sig Stones, new ISO, new catalysts, new Sig levels, new crystals and crystal shards and everything. We didn't need it to be this complicated. We didn't need that much here. They could have just had Relics. different star level Thor's hammers, for instance, or something. There's obviously this was guided by money. There is no denying the fact that Kabam hoped that Relics will be like a massive seller for them because they tied them to prestige. I actually spoke with Kabam employee who was also part of designing Relics, and he fully admitted that prestige in Relics is 100% monetary decision in order to try and get more sales, without not realizing that they didn't really need that. And as an end result is that, while strikers are cool, the Relic system as a whole is kind of shit. It's again unnecessarily bloated. It did not have to be that complex, but it is. And all of that together now adds more to the bloat of MCOC and complexity of it. When people play mobile video games, having intricate systems in there and interactions is cool. But MCOC is far bigger than many of the console games in terms of how many things you need to know, how many things you need taken, how many things get updated, how many things you need to be aware of. And at some point, it just exceeds human capacity to be able to do so. And we are there. So again, I strongly believe that one of the best things Kabam can do for themselves to begin with, and for the players, is to consolidate a lot of these things. Like I said, just push in the calendar, reduce the complexity of the side events. We don't need 15 different stores. Absolutely. Many of these could also get consolidated. You don't need 18 different currencies in 15 different stores and 19 tabs. So again, it doesn't serve much of a purpose, or I would say the benefits of having that much are actually starting to become a hindrance because we are not really able to follow it as a community. And it's not because we would be intellectually incapable. I'm sure some people are not. But it's mainly because of the maximum amount of effort and attention an average player is willing to give to this game. And it's a finite amount. And every time Kabam introduces something new, something different, something more complex, whilst it will be interesting for some, for many, it will be just another thing that they might not completely understand, enjoy, fully get behind. Whilst having choice, I think is great. I think it's great that you can choose the way you play in this game, the type of alliance you want to be in, that one that focuses on battlegrounds or alliance war or alliance quest, or the way you play the game, how much you spend or how much arena you grind. All that stuff is important. But it also has to be more simple and more clear. If you do this, you get that. If you do that, you get this. At the moment, you do anything in game and you get something, and you have no idea what are the best choices to make, what are the best approaches to the game, and how all of it entirely works. And if you want to do it all, or even attempt to get close to as much of the game done as possible, well, at this point, it's obviously not feasible in between battlegrounds, incursions, arenas, and alliance modes, and everything else. You just can't do anything. And that's fine. We have to make a choice. The problem is, we don't have a clear picture. It's just incredibly bloated. And we obviously know that Kabam has issue maintaining this game. We have issues with AI. We have issues with virtually every single update and events and champions. And then there are these people designing things that people don't care about. I think they would, first of all, do themselves a massive favor for making things simpler, because the simpler you make things, the less things can go wrong. There are less things in the code or whatever that can be bugged and whatnot. Like if you have rewards for a side event in solo event, solo objective, store, quest rewards, that's like 4 or 5 different places where something can go wrong. If you have a quest and quest rewards, that's one place where something can go wrong. So obviously there would be less issues if Kabam just kept things slightly simpler. And again, I do think it would also be better for players, because players would actually know what they have to do, how they have to do it, when they have to do it. ultimately, I do think it is a big part. Obviously, it's not the only issue. We will be talking about the shift in champion strategies and champion abilities in general. We will be talking about, the new direction where the game seems to be made for like top 100 players, more so than for the general populace, and all of these other issues. But I do want to preface this and emphasize the fact that all of these comments are not made from a bad place. It's not because I want to rant and be mad at Kabam and they don't know anything. Quite opposite. It's because I hope this game does the best it can. And even though obviously I'm not associated with Kabam in any official manner, I don't work for them, I'm not in their content creator partner program, I do think that through having spoken with that many players who have legitimate issues with the game, I am in a fairly unique position where I can give honest, unfiltered feedback. Sometimes it might be harsh and unnecessarily rude. That's something I might need to work on. Maybe not. We'll see about it. Truth is, I care about this game a lot. And every time somebody tells me that they are leaving or they just left, it just sucks to hear. So I want people joining. I want new people picking up the game. I want them to be more serious about the game. And one of the biggest and most important things where that at the moment is, being hindered is because the game just feels too much. If you download the game today, there's an insane amount of things you need to pick up without side quest being 18-page long Bible. People have already their work cut out for, without a doubt, with how many things are in the game, without needing to, read through half an hour wall of text to understand how a side quest will work every month. So whilst I did pay quite a lot of attention to side event, I do think the same again in terms of bloatedness applies to other areas of the game. Every game mode doesn't need a solo event. Every game mode doesn't need a solo objective. Every quest doesn't need 89 nodes. Every champion doesn't need 5,000 word essay and abilities. We want things to be fresh. We want new and interesting things. But that does not necessarily mean that everything needs to be stretched out. Every time a new content comes out, the first half an hour effectively is getting spent reading. It's not what fun is about, in my opinion. Every time again, new content, event, anything comes out, there's just so much. And there shouldn't be. And it's making life harder for Kabam. And it's making life less fun for us. Let me know if you guys agree, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next